What's up, everyone? Welcome to my corner of the internet. I'm your host, Ryan Kramer, and this is Crossover Commerce, presented by Ping Pong Payments, the leading global payments provider helping sellers keep more of their hard-earned money. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Crossover Commerce. I'm your host, Ryan Kramer, and this is my corner of the internet where I bring the best and brightest in the Amazon and e-commerce space. If you're new to the show, welcome. Thanks for listening and watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. Or if you're catching this on your favorite podcast destination, you know the ones. Those are your Spotify, your Google Podcasts, your Apple Podcasts. If you're listening to us and you've subscribed to the episode, you've hit one of my, I already know, my favorites to date that's going to happen here on the podcast. This is episode 237. That means there's 237 episodes that I've had of experts in the Amazon and e-commerce space come on this show and talk about relevant and actionable topics in this world to help grow your business. That's what this is all about, right? So we can share information, we can grow together as a community, and so that you can take your business to the next level. I had to drop my mic down there, my voice down low, because this is serious. But every episode here on Crossover Commerce, as you know, is presented by Ping Pong Payments. Who's Ping Pong Payments? Well, we're a cross-border payment solution helping people keep more of their hard-earned money, whether it's sending or receiving money internationally. That could be sending money to pay out your supplier in China or India. We have actually a webinar coming up later today or tonight, depending on the world where you're at, talking about paying your suppliers in India with one of our friends from India Sourcing Network. Or you can talk about, or we can think about when you're receiving funds and you're selling in Canada or Mexico or Australia or one of the numerous Amazon marketplaces. Ping Pong Payments is going to be that solution for you. Save more money, put it to your bottom line, and keep more and put it to your save on some of those ridiculous fees, such as those surcharge fees that Amazon's now all of a sudden charging small businesses. That is for a different topic, but this is what we're going to be talking about today. The reason why I seem so giddy and so excited about today is because there's a new tool in the space and there's a new company. Let me say company, because tools is what they acquire and what they grow with, but they're helping develop elements of successful Amazon tools, and that is what we developed today. Called episode today, a play on a couple words, and you'll know why exactly here just shortly. So I was lucky enough to meet this guy at Prosper Show. I feel like all of my guests now are coming from Prosper Show. I had said I had to have you on. We need to get you on to talk about the amazing company and the things that they're doing over at Carbon6. That's right. We have affiliate director, manager, whatever title, affiliate marketing director over at Carbon6, Clayton Atchison of Carbon6. Clayton, thank you for hopping on Crossover Commerce Day, man.
Hey, Ryan, thank you very much for having me, and congratulations on the 200 plus episodes.
It comes and go quickly, man, believe it or not.
It's wild. That's wild, man. And I also obviously the listeners won't know this, but I've reached out to you a couple of times saying, hey, do you know somebody that could help with this, or somebody that might know about this topic? And every single time you've come through your network, I was like, man, his network is massive and you're so helpful. But now it makes sense. You've done this hundreds of times. You know everybody. So congratulations. That's no small feat.
When you're an old 32-year-old like me, you know everyone in space. No, I'm just kidding. No, I appreciate that. No, it's a lot of fun. I did this. This is how podcasting work, and this is how I think a lot of businesses work, and then we'll dive into Carbon6. A lot of people ask the question, do you know this person? This is how this podcast started, Clayton, is, hey, do you know a person that can help with copywriting, infringement, stuff like that in the legal sense? And I'm not a lawyer, clearly, in that any sense. But I said, yeah, I think I know somebody who does. And I actually reached out to, I believe you met him too, Rob Stanley. He was at a different company, but he's over at Gatita now. He's like, yeah, I think I know somebody. Let's get him on with us, record something, and let's get some questions out to him. And took roughly about 45 minutes or an hour. I was late to the first podcast. I was a sweaty mess. I definitely was taking a backseat to that, but I thought it was really cool and just ask questions. I learned a lot about from that episode. So I just started reaching out to random people on LinkedIn, and thus we have a podcast. And this is we're 237 episodes later. So you just got to do it. And if you look like an idiot, who cares? I don't get to see these people unless you comment. And if you do comment and say I look like an idiot, that's perfectly fine too as well. But hey, that's where we're at. But hey, thanks so much for hopping on. You are the reason why it's so hard to get you on is because you're a busy man. you're around flying around the world, but you're in, all right, let's get this, Dominican Republic, correct?
Wrong.
Dang it. Every time. No, you're Puerto Rico.
That's right. That's
See,
right.
it's the opposite
Yep.
one.
I'm in San Juan,
I was
not
putting up the
far from
same
the
thing.
DR.
I was
But
gonna say
yeah,
it's San Juan. So, but you've been traveling around. You were, I think last week you were in what? You were in California, then in Miami. You've been
yeah.
traveling a lot, man.
I actually saw Rob from Tita out there in Los Angeles. So I
Okay.
just was hanging out with him recently. A bunch of people out there for Mina's big party, and then there was the Midwest conference. It's funny because it was out west, but it was the Midwest Ecom conference.
That's right.
That was a great time. And then I flew into Miami/Fort Lauderdale. Met Carlos Alvarez at the Wizards of Ecom, and I got a busy few weeks coming up. I have the only thing for fun that I'm doing is this weekend. One of my best friends ever is having his bachelor party in Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Nice.
I go to that. I fly back on Sunday. I think I fly out on Monday to Miami because the Zab twins and Vanessa are doing a conference in Miami. And then I go straight from there to Oregon, then to Paris, then to London, then to New York, and then to Chicago. And then I'll be coming back to Puerto Rico. So yeah, I'll be all over. So if you guys are at any of those conferences and we haven't met, I hope we can.
Well, I will be there. I know the ones in New York, London. I unfortunately won't be to London. That would be what Seller Sessions with Annie.
Yep.
London, or I believe New York will be SGTG as well. I will be there as well. And I believe you guys are doing the Ecom co-op event as well, potentially, maybe.
I think we're doing them all, man. I'm literally
say yes.
I'm starting to have trouble keeping them straight.
That's the problem with companies say yes a lot. You guys are everywhere, but it's hard to keep the schedule straight, right? It's a little difficult, but no, I get it. No, we'll have to meet up in New York for sure because I think I'm there a whole week, so it's kind of
awesome.
A little crazy. So, anyways, surprise alert! If you're in New York and you're listening to us, I know Pearl at First Choice Shipping has already reached out. She's excited. I invited myself to her office, so whatever that looks like, I'm gonna be there because I think they're doing amazing things. But anyways, this is about you guys. So you're traveling all around. I guess the simple question would be why, and is this for Carbon6 or is this for personally or you're a seller? What's your background first, and we'll get into Carbon6 and why you're jumping all over the world.
Yeah. Okay. Like you said, my name's Clayton Atchison. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I also went to college in Missouri at the University of, you guessed it, Missouri. I did study abroad in Spain for a semester. That was a fun time in college. And then after college, so I studied international business with an emphasis in finance and real estate, and then in Spanish on the international studies side. Really, really fun time in college. Loved it. After college, I worked for a Fortune 500, Altria, which owns Philip Morris and other companies, for 2 years. While I was working there, I was starting an Amazon to eBay dropshipping business with 3 of my buddies. One of them was a developer, so we created some of our own softwares. I ended up leaving Altria sort of at a weird time. They were trying to promote me and to the location that I wanted, which was actually Miami, so I could practice more Spanish. And I ended up quitting anyways and running that business for a few years. Then I got involved, while that was still open, I got involved in some cryptocurrency arbitrage between the United States and South Korea. I had got investors involved. We were doing great, making a lot of money every single day, just cycling it. And then one day I get a call that the money was locked up in the South Korean banks. So I had to fly over to South Korea, spend 3 weeks there, got it unlocked almost immediately, but they were like, you should stick around a while because they said, we might lock it again if you're not on island. So we're on peninsula. So I did, and it was cool. While I was there, I got to go to the Winter Olympics in Pyongyang.
Is it Pyeongchang?
Is Pyeongchang? One's Pyongyang, which is North Korea.
I apologize for our South Korea counterparts. I know we work. I think it's Pyong. I thought it was Pyeongchang.
I think that's right. Pyongyang's North Korea, Pyeongchang, South Korea. And so I went there. I got to see Shaun White win the gold. It was incredible. But yeah, just was staying over there to make sure that a lot of people were doing nefarious things with cryptocurrency at that time. Still are, right? And they wanted to make sure I wasn't like some sort of human trafficker or drug smuggler. And so I went over there, smiled real big, got the money out, flew back after 3 weeks, and a week later it was locked again. Went back again, got it unlocked, stayed there, and eventually the cryptocurrency arbitrage opportunity went away. But it was a lot of fun while it lasted. After that, I was like kind of getting tired of the arbitrage thing between Amazon and eBay. It was kind of getting saturated, and so I said, I'm going to start up a private label business. We were buying so much stuff from Amazon at that time. We were like, well, the real volume's on Amazon. So We started a private. I moved to Puerto Rico at that time because I made some cash and wanted to start a business and save on taxes. There's really good taxes down here. I don't think that's a secret anymore. Great community down here. There are a lot of smart people that moved down here. And anyway, I moved to Puerto Rico in 2018. I started a private label business, and I've been doing that ever since. Still have the business. It's mostly on like an automated running. I have some people that work on it for me, and then I ran into Justin, the CEO of Carbon6. I wasn't really looking for anything in particular, but Justin said, we'd like somebody with some Amazon knowledge to go to a few conferences with us, meet some people, and so I did. I met Justin through a mutual friend, Christoph, great guy, who now lives in the Dominican Republic. So you got where he lives. And so anyway, I went to Orlando and New York with Justin and Nassim and met some other people on the team, Agassi and Alex Cooney and Alex I, and just really liked everybody, loved what they were doing, believed in the mission and the vision, and I just like fell into it, man. It was like an accident. I wasn't looking for anything, but I just love the people I'm working with, and I love what Carbon6 is doing. And so that's how I came to be the director of affiliates for Carbon6.
That's amazing. And also, speaking of another great, Troy Johnson tuning in. Troy, thanks for two of the greats. Look at that. Coming from Troy Johnson himself that's high praise. So I've had Troy on. Clayton, get this. I've had Troy on the podcast. I want to say four times. So if you're a fan of SNL, there's a 5-timers club, and I've been pushing off Troy to come back again because I don't want to owe him a jacket.
Yeah.
So this is Troy. If you're still listening to this, I appreciate it. I'm gonna get you back on. Probably he always comes on my 100 or 200 episodes just because he's the guy who knows the space and can get to a point quick. So Troy's
great and so eloquent. Look, like whenever he speaks, it feels like he's like reading a sentence he wrote down and edited like 25 times, but it just comes out of his mouth somehow.
Super smart, super smart guy, but now part of the Carbon6 family as well. So
that's right.
I think that dovetails pretty nicely into the story. This is something that someone like myself, who I watch and I listen, and this is something we were joking about. This is superpowers. You see these companies emerge almost like when the aggregator boom kind of really happened in 2020, 2021, early 2021, when everyone kept popping up, news press release of raise $150 million, something crazy like that. But it's a new company in this space. Carbon6 is one of those sneaky ones that said, hey, we're Carbon6, but we're going to appear everywhere and then make our announcement at Prosper, which is what you guys ended up doing. So for people who weren't fortunate enough or still don't know what you guys do, kind of give me how you guys came to be. Like, this is something that's really cool, nuanced, and I think it's been something that's been coming for a very long time in this space.
Yeah, I don't know why more people didn't think of it. I didn't think of it. I didn't think of it, but unlike most aggregators, so like multiple times I've been like, hey, Carbon6 is a software aggregator or software aggregation company. People are like, oh, another aggregator. Not really. Most aggregators are buying private label businesses, right? And putting them together and improving them. We are actually buying these software tools that help people sell on private label and in other places. So we actually own tools, not just in private label, but also in wholesale and merch by Amazon, as well as arbitrage. So we're very like broad, but our, the biggest vertical is in private label. So we're spending a lot of time there, which I think is what a lot of your viewers are interested in. And yeah, like you were kind of saying, for 11 or so months, we were in stealth mode, like Batman. And I wasn't even there the entire time. I came on like kind of around November. So they've been like hanging out in the shadows, looking for great technology companies that have a lot of potential, but maybe don't have like the resources they need. A lot of time that means money, but a lot of time it really means hiring the right people or getting the right people in the right position, because some of the tools we've acquired, right? They had the founder trying to be the developer, but also be, the customer service guy or the marketer. And it's just a lot to do. So these great technology companies maybe weren't getting out in front of enough people when really their technology was like second to none. So that's kind of been our goal, is to make it easier for entrepreneurs online to find some of the best technology and put it to use for their business. That's been our goal. And also along that way, we always try to keep the founder on when we acquire these companies. If they want to stay on, they absolutely can, and we'll like leave them equity, because they got the vision. They're the ones that created this from the beginning. So a lot of our tools, the original founder is still there, which is great because they know their business better than anyone.
So with that being said, so aggregating tools, which is something that's not easy to do. Like you said, you have to. I was in the tool space back with Viral Launch before I joined the Ping Pong Payments, and like anything else, if you're listening to this, software is very difficult to stay on top of. It's not like a service-based industry where it's like an agency or something like that, where, hey, it's almost a cut and dry. You put your services is very difficult because you have to stay up to date with all the new tools, the updates, the constant feature enhancements, the features that break, the things that there's so many different things that make a great software tool, but also that can tank a great software tool. In this case, for Amazon, since data is constantly changing, it's very difficult to understand. But you guys now have acquired, I think the world is like 12, 13, something like that. But right out, I want to say that there's four for private label, two for wholesale, and two for arbitrage. Is that correct? So the number comes to what, 8, something along that you
Yeah,
guys announced publicly?
yeah, I think it's well, we have a few in merch by Amazon as well.
Sure.
So I think it's around 12 now.
12. Okay.
But it changes, like it's changing quickly. Obviously, we haven't even been around a year, so it's one a month. But we're moving quickly. I think there will be more news, exciting news coming out soon, some of which I cannot release. But yeah, it's moving quickly. It's exciting. And just going back to your point about development, we've got a fantastic dev team. With some of these companies, we acquire the dev team that they already have in place, but most of the time we add to it, which is really great because then we can go through and crush through this list that's been, basically weighing or on top of like this smaller dev team for a long time. We can go through and really make a lot of updates. If it was up to me, Carbon6 would be out of business tomorrow. I am not a developer at all. But thank God that we got some people that are. And we're really, really improving these tools fast. When we come in and acquire them, like there are multiple examples with like Zon tools and AMZ Alert, complete like UX, like updates and overhauls, but also backend improvements, like the features and benefits that have changed in just a short amount of time is crazy, which the founders love because they get to like see their dream come to like life more quickly, that they've been trying to like balance all these things and juggle all this stuff forever. And then we come in and they're like, oh my gosh, I knew this was possible. This was my dream the whole time. And so everybody's stoked about it. But yeah, that's kind of a roundabout way to kind of talk about what you were talking about. I don't know if I'm making any sense here.
No, it does. I think that this is kind of the thing that a lot of software companies I think struggle with, is that they try to do everything, which is what inevitably you should do. You should cater to all the sellers out there, right? Not everyone's a private label seller, not everyone's a wholesaler, not everyone's a retail arbitrage. They kind of get like diluted in the community of, like you said, like the merch section. Not a lot of people think about that there's businesses and companies that can use tools that help focus on that. It's just not a big flashy money making segment, but it's definitely a necessity. What's kind of the vision then for Carbon6 of, hey, Carbon6 is going to be this by the time we, like, what's a success for Carbon6, I should say?
I am glad you asked, Ryan. If I could have gave myself a softball question, that would have been it. So thank you. Yeah. So really, the vision here is that long term, we have like an incredible like training academy. So when somebody comes online and they say, I want to be in somewhere in e-commerce, or I want to make money online, I don't know how, but I want to do it. We say, all right, what is your budget? Tell us about yourself. What do you like to do? And then we can funnel those people into what makes sense. If somebody says, I got $500 to invest, we're not going to recommend they go into private label. It just doesn't make sense. But maybe merch is a fantastic option for them, or maybe even arbitrage. And depending on where their budget is, what they like to do, how much time they have to spend, we can funnel them into different places and help educate them online. And then if somebody is like having a ton of success in merch or in arbitrage, maybe we look at it as sort of like a stepping ladder, where maybe they can step up to wholesale and then to private label. So we want to be a place where people can go and get access to a lot of tools, but also a lot of information, because let's be honest, a lot of people start private label and then a year later tell everybody it sucks. There's no way to make any money because they failed, because they had unrealistic expectations. So it's very important to, like, part of the Carbon6 mission is to like actually increase the percentage chance that anybody starting tomorrow has a better chance of being successful online. But that starts with like realistic expectations, like real goals, and education. So a big part of us is we're wanting to properly educate everybody that comes into the e-commerce space, which I think for a long time has not been done as good as it can be. You are muted, Ryan. I can see your mouth moving, but I don't hear a word.
See, look at that. See, there's a mute button, and I keep forgetting. This is why even 237 episodes in, sometimes you just forget to hit the hot buttons.
No worries.
No, I sit back and listen because sometimes, I write down notes and stuff like that and can be loud. But this is why I'm so fascinated and why Carbon 6 I think is what the space really needs. I think the education has to be always the forefront. Again, there's a lot of great podcasts out there. There's a lot of great people teaching. You call it the courses. I think it's a pitfall. It's you can share what's successful, but you're not like hand holding people through. There's so many just fantastic people that are trying to do the right thing. They just don't have the resources or the audience or the wherewithal. I think you guys are really doing it all at once, and you're really tightening it up and making sure that every segment is supported, which is really cool and fascinating. Will this eventually lead to like bigger agencies and bigger enterprise accounts and, like the top 100 Amazon sellers, or you said the beginning focus so that people can be successful? What about if people have that groundwork and like, hey, I am successful, Clayton, why would Carbon 6 make sense for me? Why would I care to check it out?
Absolutely. Yeah, great question. So just transparently, we have a lot of aggregators and a lot of agencies that already use our services. We have some of the, yeah, really. I'm not.
No, I mean, like, well, that's fascinating because you guys have not been around, but less than a year, you said. So that, I mean, is it just that why are they trying to do everything, or what's the reason? They're like, yeah, this makes sense.
Well, all of the tools, right, existed before we did because we're acquiring them. So they came with clients that we inherited, but also like specifically recently, we have been really getting a ton of interest in PixelMe, one of our private label tools. And yeah, like basically my schedule, if you go to like pixelme.me and you go to like the pricing page or anywhere and it clicks book a demo, that goes to my calendar. My calendar has been like chock full, which is why it's been hard to get on this podcast with you. I'm glad I figured it out though, because I'm having a blast here, man. I really am. But yeah, a lot of agencies and a lot of aggregators have been booking calls after Prosper, just hearing about PixelMe. So that's we have aggregators and agencies on basically every private label tool that we have, which I can run through those. Zon Tools is a PPC automation tool. AMZ Alert is an alert listing tool. And then we have Seller Tools, which helps with product research amongst a lot of other things. And then we have PixelMe, which is a Amazon attribution off Amazon retargeting tool. It's like the fastest way to say it. That's a loaded sentence. But yeah, we've been having, everybody from like individual sellers too, but a lot of Amazon agencies and aggregators in just the past few weeks. And it seems that there's no end in sight as far as like PixelMe demos go. I've been having to tap some other people on my team to help me with those. And we're thinking about doing some webinars coming up because it's really hard to, I'm just doing demos all day. So, and we need a lot of people are wanting demos.
Need help, man.
And Agassi's helping me a lot. Shout out to you, Agassi, if you're watching. He's been incredible, and my whole team has. That's part of the reason I came to Carbon6 is anytime I'm like feel like I'm drowning, everybody's there to like throw me a life jacket. It's been incredible, man. But yeah, PixelMe is a big one where aggregators and agencies are currently really, really interested, and for good reason. PixelMe is like an incredible tool. There's nothing quite like it.
Well, yeah, I'm dropping a link real quick. This is why I keep looking down, because as you produce, and you'll know this too, Clayton, as you produce on this platform, looks like you're not paying attention at all. But guys, I am paying attention. I'm just trying to get you the information. So I dropped the PixelMe website. Obviously, just use the /crossover commerce, and now I'll go to the PixelMe website too. Clayton likes it because he knows that you guys are coming from Crossover Commerce, and you guys hear about PixelMe through us. So definitely give a check and a little look. Let's take a different approach, and I always like to dig in a little bit deep, Clayton. Since you've been playing around with the tools, we know the successes, and I want to come back to PixelMe here at the end, as promised in our episode. There's so many tools that cover so many different things in the space right now. What does Carbon6 or what does the space need help with? And there needs to be a tool that you wish it was a part of the suite right now. Well, what's kind of that gap, if you will?
So one that we don't have
inside of what's something that you guys don't feel like you're say, hey, that's our let's use a baseball term because I'm a big baseball fan. Hey, that's my I'm a Cubs fan, so I know you're a Cardinals fan because you
Christ.
grew up in.
How do I end the meeting?
You leave studio and we call the episode short. But hey, man, my whole family, get this, my whole family besides myself are Cardinals fans. I'm the black sheep.
Good people. Good people.
I run the opposite direction when it comes to that. So I blame my dad. He took me to a spring training game and it was the Cubs game, and I've been hooked ever since. But anyways,
I love Wrigley. Anyways, we can get off it. But the stadium's awesome. But
I always end up bringing it back to baseball. I have a Nolan Ryan signed baseball right behind me, so I've never talked about that on the podcast. But favorite player. But anyways, what's like your cold zone? Like what are the places that you're weak in terms of like hitting for Carbon6? What is it? You know, we talked about PPC. We talked about Pixelme, which is kind of retargeting. What's kind of that weak spot, if you will, for the company right now?
Yeah. Well, in all honesty, like I said, we've been around less than a year. I think there's probably a couple. Like in the merch space, I think we could improve our capabilities and actually help them with design. In the wholesale space, there's a couple of things, but in private label, I would say one of the big ones. Just talking to the guys from the entire group of Wizards of E-commerce. That I was up in Miami. I'm the only one that can say up because they usually say down in Miami. But it's up for me. I was up in Miami, and they were talking about a lot of people asking for help with inventory management. A lot of people are struggling with that. There's tools out there. Some are good, some are not so good. But Carbon6, as of the moment that we're speaking, doesn't have a fantastic inventory management tool. So if you have one out there and you think it's good technology, please reach out to Carbon6. We're always looking to partner and acquire more tools. So right now, I would say that's one of the places that we could improve.
Inventory management. Okay, gotcha. So what about so if that's the case, do you think that Carbon6 would eventually like build its own technology based upon this? Because I'm only saying this because you call your guys an aggregator. I think a lot of aggregators in the acquisition space for what we know as let's call it like a Perch or an Elevate Brands or something like that. I would assume that once you get to your own base, you would start launching your own private label products and your own brands underneath your umbrella that you've already managed. The only thing is just the time and money that it takes to develop tools. Do you see that ever happening for Carbon6?
So
developing your own tools,
developing your own tools. Them? Yeah. So the answer is we kind of have already begun, but it's not our preference, right?
Sure.
When you develop new tools, you have to bring notoriety to it. You have to bring attention to it. Whereas if you acquire a tool, that tool usually already has a base, some momentum, some brand equity. People are aware of it. So one thing, like going back to Pixelme, honestly, Pixelme started originally, and I don't want to like jump the gun if we don't have to go that direction yet, but Pixelme started as a retargeting tool. So we've had for a long time clients, including Sephora, Gucci, UNICEF, Procter & Gamble, other companies like that have used us specifically for our retargeting software, which is incredible. But we saw the ability and the opportunity to bring retargeting to Amazon and marry it with Amazon attribution and, also connecting it with like Google, TikTok, and Facebook ads. So now Pixelme, you can create Facebook, Google, and TikTok ads all within the Pixelme framework. And every single link, we put in Amazon attribution tags, so you get the 10% brand referral bonus. And then we also put in pixels, as many as you want, so that you can retarget audiences in the future on Facebook or TikTok or even Pinterest or whatever pixel you put in there. That didn't really exist. Nobody had that. So if you have this idea and you want to go out and acquire it, and you say, okay, let's look for that, and then it doesn't exist, what other option do you have? You could tell other people to go build it and then acquire it, or you can build it. So in this case, we built it. Generally speaking, it's not our ideal model, but in this case, it was absolutely a necessity. And in other tools, we're always making improvements. So we come in and there's a long list of dev requests. We fire through those, and then we usually change the UX to make it more user friendly. But generally speaking, we're not trying to be this huge development company. We see it as partnering and working with companies and brands that already exist. So if you're out there, let us know.
Yeah. There's a great podcast, and like I said, I'm a student of the game just as much as the next person, and I love hearing takes on other people I've had on the podcast. Are you familiar, Clayton, with Paul Barron by chance? Yeah. Okay. So Paul talked about this on the Helium 10 podcast, believe it or not, with Bradley Sutton, and I was listening to this this weekend, they were talking about with the attributions, using like a 10% commission for influencers and attracting influencers, utilizing Amazon's referral bonus to kind of offset the chance of, hey, I'll pay you 10% of any referral bonus if you use this link, which is an Amazon attribution link.
Mm-hmm.
And then they are basically offsetting one another. I'll give you my 10%, but they're driving traffic, basically free traffic that they're using from Amazon to help pay this influencer on top of just, hey, maybe free product cost or unboxing, whatever that looks like. So something like that where people's life, my mind was blown. I was saying,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you do something like that too, to kind of get, it's the old affiliate model of, I would have to give 10% or 12% of our product cost or whatever the retail cost was for our goods when I was selling direct to consumer, and people, instead of the upfront cost of like thousands of dollars for this placement to get in front of hundreds of thousands of people. So instead of that, now you're just giving commission so they work harder, they know that they can earn more long term, instead of the oh, it's a flat fee, who knows if you're going to be successful. You want to have that kind of that well, if you will, if and keep coming back to it. So I thought that was super fascinating, and in a tool like Pixelme can help you kind of know where it's coming from and help you target people like that too. So
100%, it's fascinating. I actually was with Paul Barron out in LA. We stayed up talking strategy until like 5:30 in the morning. He went like directly to the airport to go home, but we were up pretty late. And yeah, that's a fantastic idea. Actually, like whenever I was mentioning earlier about Pixelme, talking about Facebook and slash Instagram, Google, and TikTok ads, all of which you can create inside. We also have something specifically for influencers. So you can just create whichever link and put it anywhere. You could give it to an influencer. You could put it on a blog post. You could tweet about it, however you want. But inside that link, you'll still have like exactly what you're saying. You'll still have the Amazon attribution tag, and you'll still have the retargeting influence, so that if you want to, the pixel, so you can still retarget. And it's really valuable because if you're hiring influencers, like a different model about what you're talking about, if you're just paying them like a fixed cost, there's some shady influencers out there that can, create click farms and get you. Look, I got 10,000 clicks, but until you had Amazon attribution tags, you couldn't see what was converting or not. So now you can compare and contrast influencers. You set up two separate influencers. One gets 10,000 clicks, but only 2 conversions. Another one gets 500 clicks, but 10 conversions. I mean, you know who's better, right? So we've entered into the world where now we can finally really track what's going on with off Amazon advertising in a very like educated and smart way. And instead of just spending those ad dollars and outside of conversions, getting no like ROI with the pixel, you can create audiences that you can retarget. Again, that's what Procter & Gamble and UNICEF and, all those big companies have been doing forever because it works. If you click on an ad, you're obviously obviously interested. So if you're on Facebook and then later you see it on Google and later you see it on TikTok, that's multiple touch points.
How does that work? Pixels, guys.
Pixels.
It's all in the pixels.
And it works, right? That's why big companies are using it. Retargeting is extremely valuable. And if you're not using a pixel, which a lot of people are not, let's be honest. If you're not, you're not creating an audience. You're just spending ad spend dollars. Like, this is free. Pixels are free. You get it for free. So why not use it, and why not create that audience so that you can retarget in the future and like basically long term minimize your cost of acquisition, right?
Right.
That's the goal here.
And for the listener out there, if you hear cookies and you hear pixels, two different things. They're two separate ideations in terms of what that means on a browser, on a technical geeky side of things.
Yeah.
A cookie is obviously on pages that you pull up, and it's almost like your history. So it's like dropping crumbs for people to use, and that's getting changed on the Google side of things. But pixels, they're on websites, so it doesn't matter how you get to it. If you come to the usa.pingpongx.com/podcast page, and I have a pixel on there, I know that you are coming directly to that page, and I can follow you no matter what. It's a different technology, and it's a lot more powerful, in my opinion, to kind of have this follower campaign to say, hey, subscribe or anything like that. So
yeah, and I'm not smart enough to have explained any of that. So I'm glad you're here. I know they're different. That's where it begins and ends for me.
When you've been in the biz for as long as I have. No,
but I'll tell you what though. Like I really am not very much of a technical person. But when you get into Pixelme, it is easy, man. It is straight up like made. Like I think my mom, maybe not my mom. She is really bad at computers. But just about anybody else could use it. It's really made pretty dummy proof.
Yeah,
like me.
So with that, I'm kind of curious, Clayton, too. A couple other things with that. A lot of these tools are Amazon centric, and I know I've had a lot of guests on here that's also talked direct to consumer. Will Carbon 6 always be focused on Amazon and only for Amazon sellers, or does there ever become this, hey, now we can serve this direct to consumer market? Because Pixelme can really cross over, no pun intended, cross over into that side of business, I would think, to help in that capacity as well, and start developing in the world where brands are from direct to consumer maybe are coming on Amazon or vice versa. In that capacity, is that part of the roadmap, the blueprint, if you will?
So Pixel Me is like the most versatile thing of all time. Like
Yeah,
it can be used for like almost anything. I think that is honestly kind of accidental. Like I think we are mostly focused on Amazon right now, but and I don't have a crystal ball here. Wish I did, but if I had to guess, yeah, I think in the future, I don't know when that is, but I think it'll make sense to branch outside of Amazon. We're going to try to help the e-commerce entrepreneur. So if the e-commerce entrepreneur is moving to Shopify, or if they're moving to Walmart, like why wouldn't we help them, right? I think it's sort of short-sighted to only focus on one marketplace while there's obviously up and coming competitors. Obviously, Amazon's the biggest. Everybody knows that. So that's where it makes sense to start. And
sure.
again, these aren't going to be decisions that I'm going to be making. But if I had to guess, that would be my educated guess about the future of Carbon 6. There's been talks about it, no clear decisions made, but I would not be surprised at all if in the future we had tools that helped you on Shopify or helped you on Walmart in the next year or so. And then on top of that, I also think that we're going to try to help entrepreneurs, in all places as well, not just in the United States, but there's burgeoning markets in Europe and South America, and we don't want to. We want to think globally and like try to help people everywhere, not just in the United States, but people that speak other languages. We want to try to help people like that, and in all parts of the e-commerce business. So it's a broad goal, but we're determined, and the team that we put together is incredible. So I think we can do it.
Absolutely. I think that's where a lot of people are, not to seem short sighted, but I think if you're just focusing on one market, that's not the omni channel presence where a lot of businesses, whether it be Fortune 500 companies trying to enter Amazon or e-commerce or vice versa. Like I can't say vice versa. This is the most I've ever used it in a flipping podcast. But
You're good,
or
though.
when you flip it and you look to, hey, how can I be the next Zesty Paws that, again, I said it last time, your valuation is over $650 million. That's what you're required for. What that brand did was, I think it's still super sneaky, is they were acquired by, I want to say a Chinese based business, but they were on Amazon. They were on omni-channel based retail businesses. So they were in like the PetSmarts, the Targets of retail world, and they're also on their own direct-to-consumer website. So I always call it the three pillars, if you
Mm-hmm.
will. If you want to be valuated at $650 million as brand or be an anchor or something like that, guess what? You got to be good at one, and then you got to start building those strong pillars in other places. So
Absolutely. And that's good advice for all private labelers. The more revenue streams you have, the more diverse they are, the higher your multiple is going to be whenever you get a valuation.
absolutely. So in the final couple minutes I have you, Clayton, first off, when are we gonna? Since you said Puerto Rico, or not Puerto Rico, in San Juan, when are we gonna get an event down there? Because you know what, I've never been to Puerto Rico. I think that all these events that you're going to other places, I think people need to start coming to you. What
I
about it?
agree, man. It's so nice here. Like I love it in Puerto Rico. I literally am so happy here, and I love all the places I'm going to too. It's not like Oregon's beautiful, London, Paris. These are awesome places. So it's not like I'm headed to the middle of nowhere. But yeah, we absolutely need to. There is a community down here of sellers. A lot of people from MDS are down here, and but it's I don't know, but I think we're going to do it. Our CEO lives here, Agassi lives here, I live here, Zach, one of our copywriters, lives here, Brendan Morris from Seller Tools lives here. There's enough people to justify it, and I tell you what, you cannot beat the weather. Like the beach, we have mountains to climb, beach, so we need to do it. I don't know. We need to start a petition, get Justin excited about it, and if Justin gets excited, it'll happen. But I don't know is the answer. But I'm hoping it's soon.
Well, this is what I was telling people. I said, there's a lot in the Midwest where I'm at. I'm in Indianapolis, and I said, shoot, I need like, for example, I know you saw them in LA too. With Techometrics, we have Cameron Yoder who also lives here. I was like, dude, you and I have like, we have enough people. I think we can pull something together, even in Chicago or something like that, or even St. Louis. I've been to St. Louis many times. I said, you know what, you can have a Midwest meetup too. That a lot of people from like Kansas City, Ohio, things like that too. So I'm throwing it out there. I'm waiting for someone to get excited about the Midwest of the
Me
United
too, man.
States.
I mean, I'm Midwest born and raised, so like I got a sweet spot in my heart for St. Louis, and I get to see mom and dad when I go home. So
Wins
yeah,
for
we're gonna,
everyone.
like it was so funny. The Midwest Ecom Conference was in California. I was
Yeah,
like, what is this?
I'm gonna have to talk
But
about Liz with Takeometrics because they need to rebrand themselves to not the Midwest e-commerce, that group. But it will be. I think there's one in
it was a
Minnesota.
good
Is the
conference
next one.
though, and
Yeah,
I really like Liz and Cameron, and they did a great job hosting it. And
for sure.
it was fun. It's just funny. I'm not poking fun at them. I'm just
The name just doesn't fit the the location. But yeah, I think there was a series. One's coming in Miami, and the other one I think or New York, and then let's just talk about this on the episode too. I think the other one's in Minnesota, so that'll be exciting. But in that capacity, for your job, maybe I guess if people are intrigued or kind of curious of like, hey, Pixelme sounds too good to be true, or Carbon6 seems like a suite that maybe I should really dive into without flooding your inbox and really getting your calendar really booked up, which I'm assuming you would like. How do we get people excited? Where do they need to go to kind of connect with you in that capacity?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely add me on LinkedIn. My name's Clayton Atchison. You guys can find that obviously just by looking at the podcast. But also, if you just want a general like overview of the tools, and this is not going to obviously be like the same as a demo on each tool, but just go to our website. It's Carbon6, the number 6, so carbon6.io, and you can learn a lot about what Carbon6 is. You can see a video about from our founders, kind of what our missions are, our values, what tools we've already acquired. And then also, if you would like demos for any of this, you can book them all on our website. So if you go to AMZ Alert, there's a way to book a demo. Same thing with Pixelme. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that I'm the director of affiliates. So if anybody out there has a large network or is very well connected, has a podcast, a YouTube channel, a Facebook group, a Discord, whatever it may be, where they're very well connected, we're looking for people to, first of all, become educated on our tools. Like Pixelme, because I know not everybody has had experience using it, but that's my job to help you with education and co-sell. So I'm happy to provide demos to people that are interested in spreading the word about Pixelme and our other tools to their communities. So feel free to reach out to me via email as well. If I don't have time to give you a demo, which I can probably make time, I'll find somebody like super qualified to do it. And my email is clayton@carbon6.io. So definitely looking for affiliates, but there's a lot of information you can get on FAQs on all of our websites. If you just go to carbon6.io and then jump around to our individual seller tool websites, you'll find quite a bit. But again, do not be a stranger. Reach out. I'm happy to talk to anybody that has more questions.
I already I texted Nassim, who's your CFO. I'm gonna butcher the title it technically is, and then also Troy, and I said I like the new website update because it looks really cool. I think you guys did a good job of. I'm gonna give you credit because you're the first person in front of me, but whoever is in charge of that look.
In all reality, I was the only one that did it.
Yeah,
Nobody else worked on it. It was me.
I figured it had your had your thumbprints all over it, man. So
I did absolutely nothing apart, but it looks really, really good. I'm happy about it.
It does look good. No, and that's exciting. And like you said, I think a lot of people too, and I'm gonna say this bluntly, a lot of people said, why should I have more than one tool? I think a lot of people have other tools in the space and they might want to give you guys a try. I think what I've always told people is, hey, verify between channels and kind of make yourself feel more comfortable that you're not getting just one source of truth. Of all the tools that you're using, again, Carbon6 has a monthly subscription. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. There's other tools in the marketplace that have subscriptions. You're making, if this is gonna make you hand over fist more profitable, tools like this and services that exist in the space, if they're making more money and make yourself feel more confident in what your decision you're gonna make, whether it be, hey, I'm gonna research tools or anything like that, feel confident in having both. Like, match them up against each other and kind of say, oh, this is kind of making my truth. Like, there's not just, I'm not going to say Carbon6 is not going to be the end all be all. I think they're going to be super accurate and super awesome and amazing at what they do. But if you have other tools that you like as well, test things between each other and see what makes sense for you as a brand. I'm not sure if that helps you or not, but
no, absolutely.
If you think that's cool.
I agree with it 100%. There's no secret that other tools exist.
Yeah.
I started my company with Helium 10. That's just a fact.
Right.
But a time and time again, Jungle Scout as well. Time and time again, the people that I find that are the most successful, like from what I can tell, they don't ever like show me their bank statements or anything, but you get the idea that they're the most knowledgeable, that they got it. They're, their finger on just about every lever. They are the people that have tested everything. They're like, yeah, I've tried that. Yep, I like this part of that, and I like that part of this. The people that are really experimenting and tweaking things are the people that I think are really having success. So I think find what works for you, and maybe the right tool isn't right for every single person, depending on what their business is or how they work. But yeah, try, experiment, not just Carbon6 tools, all tools. Just have an open mind. Don't get stuck into a rut thinking that you've got it all figured out. Be open to new and especially new tools, right? Like that's why, I mean, I can talk about AMZ Alert and how great Zon Tools is. I believe in those tools, but Pixelme specifically is like why I'm spreading the word about that so much, because all these aggregators and agencies that are coming on and having these demos, they're all loving it, which is fantastic. The early adopters usually have an advantage for like ranking and for launches, and just being competitive in today's market. So be open specifically to new tools. I know that like Data Dive is new. We don't own Data Dive. I've heard good things about them.
Shout out to Brandon Young.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of others. I mean, no, I like just honestly transparent. Just have an open mind and be willing to try things. And definitely try Pixelme, because you can create new revenue streams and it's increasing your organic keyword ranking too. That's what we're seeing. Everybody that's using it to advertise off Amazon on Google, Facebook, TikTok, they're seeing incredible organic keyword rank increase on Amazon, which makes sense because Amazon loves when you are spending money to bring people onto Amazon from off Amazon. So they're rewarding you for it. So yeah, have an open mind, be open to all tools, and just experiment and tweak and find out what's best for you.
Yep. And everyone, it's all TOS compliant. The best thing ever. So
yeah.
With that being said, Clayton, thank you so much for hopping on today. I know an hour is not long enough. I know we have you on earlier. You and I chat all the time about just throwing different people. Hey, have you heard this person, this person? If you have a question for Clayton and you miss this live, everyone, make sure you can reach out to me and I can introduce you to Clayton, or vice versa. Let's say vice versa again. Good Lord. Get out of my head. This is terrible. I need to end this podcast right now. But hey, man, thank you so much for hopping on today. It's been amazing. I know we're gonna meet up. It sounds like again, not in those other countries, but we'll see you here in New York in a few weeks at ASGCG. But you guys are sponsoring. I know we just had them on Seller Velocity Conference. You guys are sponsoring that, and you'll be in Bend, Oregon. Is that the next one you said you're going to be at?
Yeah. That's so. Well, I go to Miami just before that with the Zab twins and Vanessa
Miami.
Hong.
Okay. That's right.
But then straight to Oregon. Yeah.
Okay, both people I've had on the podcast. We just had on Chris McCabe and Lee McHugh, so that was on the previous episode. So shout out to them. I know you guys are sponsoring that. So if you go to Bend, Oregon, which I was this close to going to that one and just didn't work out. If you guys see Clayton there and Chris and Leah, make sure you guys say hi as well. So
yeah, I'll be answering questions and giving like a very short presentation and panel. So I'll be there. So hopefully,
nice.
Don't be. I just tell everybody, just be friendly. Don't be a stranger. I love meeting people, and I wanted to thank you, Ryan. Thank you for bringing me on. I had a lot of fun. I don't have a ton of experience doing these things, but I'm getting more comfortable as it goes on. So I had a lot of fun today, and then just also thank you for all the introductions you've done behind the scenes. You've been incredible. It hasn't gone unnoticed. So thank you very much.
It's what they pay me the big bucks to do. So no, man, of course, I'm glad. I call it, it's like working out. You get stronger as the more you do it. So I become more confident in doing this too. So I'm sure you will as well. It's a lot of fun doing stuff like this. And we don't live in a real world, a 9-to-5 job. We get to educate people in these capacities. And I've had people 15 months. This is the power of podcasting, guys. I said it last 3 episodes now. People have come to a person that I've had on, for example, if this is 15 months from now, Clayton has come to me in this capacity. This person said, hey, someone found our podcast 15 months ago, and I think I might have a new client now. Stuff like that happens. So the internet exists. It's an eternal abyss, and you'll find this episode. If you find it, reach out to Carbon6, even if it's 6 months, 3 months, whatever it is from now, and let them know that Crossover Commerce sent you. So, but Clayton, thank you so much for hopping on today, man. We'll catch you soon, and I know we'll be chatting sooner probably than that as well. So thanks so much for hopping on today.
Thank you, Ryan. Have a great one. I appreciate it.
No problem. And thank you, everyone, for coming on episode 237 of Crossover Commerce. Again, if you're watching live, give us a thumbs up. If you are listening to this podcast, if you're not already, please subscribe to our channels. It's Crossover Commerce with Ryan Kramer or presented by Ping Pong Payments. Just search for those and subscribe and download all of our podcasts. I'd appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up wherever you're listening to. We have an action-packed week today. Today's busy for me too. I'll be appearing on Isabella Ritz's podcast, which is later on, and then tonight we have our webinar here with Megala Barwash of India Sourcing Network. So if you see me late tonight, it'll be 10 p.m. or 9 p.m., 10 p.m. my time, Eastern Coast time. I'll be up late, so hopefully you guys you tune in for that as well. We're going to be talking about sourcing into India. So that being said, this is Crossover Commerce. Thank you very much, Clayton from Carbon6. That won't be the last time we hear from those guys as well. So make sure you check them out. All the links are below in the show notes, as well as the description below. Check them out. Let them know that Crossover Commerce sent you. With that being said, we'll catch you guys next time on Crossover Commerce. Take care.